Let me ask you something before we start. When was the last time you actually stopped in the egg aisle and thought about what you were putting into your basket? Most of us don't. Eggs feel simple, safe, British, a basic staple that has been part of our kitchens for generations. But what if I told you that your next breakfast could be hiding not one, but two of the biggest egg scandals this country has ever seen? What if I told you that more than 700,000 contaminated eggs were once allowed to slip quietly into the UK food chain before products were pulled from shelves? And that today, imported eggs linked to a dangerous strain of salmonella have already hospitalised children and left well over 100 people across England seriously ill? This isn't fear-mongering, it's a wake-up call. And today we are going to break this down properly, calmly and clearly so you know exactly what to avoid, exactly what to buy, and exactly how to protect your family. The first danger hiding in plain sight is supermarket ready-made foods made with imported eggs. This is what I call the hidden salmonella pipeline. You might be careful when you buy a carton of eggs. You might check for the lion mark. You might look for British produce. But then you pick up a quiche, a Scotch egg, a pre-packed egg mayo sandwich, a salad dressing, a pastry glazed with egg wash, or a tub of cheap mayonnaise. And you never stop to ask where those eggs came from. If the label does not clearly state that it is made with British lion eggs, there is a very high chance those eggs were imported. And that matters more than most people realise. In the UK, the Lion Code requires vaccination of hens against salmonella, strict hygiene controls, traceability and stamping. Imported eggs do not have to meet those same standards. They are cheaper. That is why they are used in mass-produced foods. But cheaper has a cost, and that cost has already been paid by families whose children ended up in hospital with salmonella infections linked to imported egg products. When supermarkets stay silent about this, it allows the illusion of safety to continue. The reason British lion eggs are such a big deal is because of the standards enforced by the British Egg Industry Council. After the devastating salmonella crisis of the late 1980s and early 1990s, the industry created the Lion Code to restore public trust. Vaccination became mandatory under the scheme. Traceability became non-negotiable. Each egg had to be stamped, and outbreaks linked to lionshell eggs dropped dramatically over time. But when manufacturers use imported liquid or powdered eggs in ready-made foods, those protections can disappear. You, the shopper, are rarely told clearly. The packaging might list egg in the ingredients, but it won't shout that the eggs were sourced from systems that would not be permitted under British standards. So if you would never knowingly buy a carton of non-lion imported eggs, why would you eat them disguised in a sandwich or a pastry? Now let's talk about the second category that shocks people the most. Premium free-range and high-welfare eggs exposed on camera. This is what I call the betrayal egg. You pay more. You choose the woodland imagery. You see phrases like RSPCA assured and picture hens roaming in green fields under open skies. Major retailers including Tesco, Asda and Marks and Spencer have all sold premium free-range lines marketed around welfare. The Happy Egg Company has built an entire brand identity around cheerful hens and idyllic farms. But undercover investigations at real suppliers have painted a far more complicated picture. Footage has shown hens crammed into sheds, potholes to the outside, closed for long periods, injured birds left untreated, and hygiene conditions that are far from the countryside fantasy printed on the box. Legally, a farm can still be classified as free range if hens technically have access to the outdoors, even if that access is limited or rarely used. Consumers assume free range equals low density and pristine conditions. The legal reality is often very different. Why does this matter beyond animal welfare? Because stress, overcrowding, and poor hygiene environments increase bacterial loads. Eggs laid on dirty floors or in heavily contaminated litter carry greater external contamination risk. If shells are dirty, cracked, or improperly cleaned, bacteria can travel. Marketing tells you premium equals safer, but premium pricing does not automatically equal lower salmonella risk. That uncomfortable truth is something most retailers would rather you never examine too closely. Then we move to the third category, the eggs millions of households rely on during a cost of living crisis: supermarket budget and barn eggs. Think about the lowest tier cartons from chains like Aldi and Lidl, or value lines at other major supermarkets. Barn systems are enormous indoor operations. Thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of hens in a single enclosed space. These are not small rustic barns with a handful of birds. They are industrial scale. With higher stocking densities come higher risks of cracked shells, feather contamination, dust, ammonia build-up, and temperature control challenges. Budget eggs are cheaper because production is scaled and margins are tight. But statistically, across supply chains, lower-tier eggs show higher rates of shell defects and hygiene issues. That does not mean every budget egg is dangerous. It means you need to understand the trade-off. When you save money, you may also be accepting higher variability in quality control. The fourth issue is something most shoppers never see: egg date fraud and carton manipulation. There have been prosecutions in the UK involving the illegal extension of best before dates, repacking of older eggs into newer cartons, and distribution of eggs that should never have reached shelves. Eggs have a legal selling window. In the UK, they must be sold within 21 days of laying and carry a best before date no more than 28 days after laying. Beyond that, internal quality declines rapidly. The natural protective membrane weakens, the air cell enlarges, the risk profile changes. When bad actors tamper with dates, you lose your most important line of defense, time. And manipulation does not only happen at packing centres. In some stores, staff may combine cartons to remove visibly cracked eggs, unintentionally mixing batches with different ages. The fifth category feels wholesome but can carry hidden risks: unregulated local eggs with no lion stamp, farmgate sales, roadside honesty boxes, market stalls selling unstamped eggs. They look charming, they feel authentic, but under UK rules, small flocks under certain thresholds are exempt from aspects of the National Salmonella Control Programme. That means no mandatory vaccination and no lion stamping requirement. Some small producers are meticulous and transparent, others are not. As a consumer, you cannot assess biosecurity protocols by looking at a handwritten sign. If you are serving runny eggs to children, pregnant women, elderly relatives, or anyone immunocompromised, the presence of the lion mark is not nostalgia. It is verification. And then we arrive at number 6, the cage-free illusion. Over the past decade, supermarkets have proudly announced transitions away from cage systems. Press releases celebrate progress. But cage-free does not automatically mean outdoor. In many cases, it simply means large indoor barns without traditional metal cages. Now let's pivot to what you can trust. If you want the safest mainstream option in the UK, start with genuine British Lion stamped free range or organic eggs. The Lion stamp means vaccination against salmonella, traceability and audited standards. Organic systems add further controls around feed and stocking densities. Lines such as premium free range or organic ranges at major supermarkets, when clearly stamped and traceable, combine oversight with accountability. The key is not the buzzword on the carton, it is the stamp on the shell. Local eggs can also be excellent, but only when transparency is real. Ask direct questions. When were these laid? Are the hens vaccinated? Are the eggs stamped? Responsible producers will answer confidently. If they cannot, walk away. And for many households, supermarket organic lines often strike the best balance between welfare, traceability, and affordability. Now let's talk about your in-store checklist, because this is where you take back control. First, always look for the stamp on the shell. In the UK code, 0 indicates organic, 1 indicates free range, 2 indicates barn, and 3 indicates caged or colony. The letters UK confirm origin. No stamp or no UK code means no thanks. Second, check the best before date and make sure you have at least a couple of weeks left. Third, open the carton. Look for cracks, dried albumin, damp packaging or visible dirt. Fourth, feel the shelf. Eggs should be stored cool and consistently. If the display feels warm, that is a red flag. Fifth, use your senses. Fresh eggs are neutral in smell. Anything sour or sulphurous is immediate grounds for rejection. At home, you have simple tools too. The float test works because older eggs develop larger air cells and become more buoyant. If it floats, it is finished. The shake test reveals thinning whites. The crack test lets you inspect structure before the egg touches your main dish. Always crack into a separate bowl first if freshness is uncertain. It takes seconds and can prevent food waste and illness. Now I want to hear from you. Did the imported egg issue surprise you? Did the free-range reality shock you? Or was it the date manipulation behind the scenes that changed how you see the egg aisle? Tell me your thoughts. And if you want more deep investigations like this, stay with the channel, because the next one might be sitting in your fridge right now.